The Panto season has begun. Audiences up and down the land are going to be cheering, booing and hissing and shouting out, "He is behind you." But as well as all the fun and games, there's usually a moral message behind Pantos and Christmas shows. Good triumphs over evil, the baddie gets what's coming to them, and everyone, in the end, realises that love, family and friendship is all that matters, and we all go home feeling good about the world. So is it fair to view the Panto as a morality tale? Let's talk to Panto expert and co-founder of the Great British Pantomime Awards, Daniel Dawson. Would you view them, is that how you view them, as a sort of a morality tale, Daniel?
Obviously there's the morality tale in there, but it's all about family entertainment. It's about going to the theatre as a number of generations together to enjoy yourselves. That's, I think, the fundamental part of it all.
This is an incredibly busy time of year for you. How many Pantos have you seen so far, and how many will you have seen by the end of it?
So last night was number 13, and I will hope to achieve 51 by the end of the season, which runs until the first week in February, believe it or not.
Goodness, so you must be crisscrossing all over the country. And furthest away Panto that you're going to see?
So I'll be going up to Scotland to see Edinburgh and Glasgow, and as far south as Weymouth. I've been to Canterbury, so yeah, all over, and in Wales I'm off to Cardiff in a couple of days' time.
Goodness gracious. When presumably it was when you were a child. I mean, when was the first moment you saw a Panto and you thought, yes, I don't just like this like normal most people like Pantos, I love Pantos?
I think sort of in my childhood I thoroughly enjoyed it. You know, I grew up in Sheffield and sort of the late Bobby Nutt at the Crucible Theatre, and I sort of got more and more into it. And one of the things I used to like to do when I was younger was collect autographs. And what you find with Pantos is there's some very big name celebrities go into the shows, and people that you'd never get to meet in normal life, but they're doing Panto. So a lot of the big American stars have been over in the UK. And I started to see more and more. I started to get to know people in the business. And the one thing that sticks out about Panto is that the people who are in it, the actors that are in the show, love it so much. They're interested to know what's happening elsewhere. And because I was going to all these shows, they would be asking me all these questions. I was then asked to do a blog. And then it was, so come on then, who's the best baddie? Who's the best dame? And I thought, you know what, why don't I do an awards, which I did. Very, very low scale, you know, doing 30, 40 shows. But now, with my colleague Sam, we set up last year the Great British Panto Awards, and we go around with a team of judges to see every Panto in the land that runs for a minimum of 20 nights, with a fully paid cast and crew in a venue over 400 seats. So it's a mammoth task, and I think it's about time we encourage the people to go and see.
I mean, it sounds a completely mammoth, I mean, almost like a slightly bonkers task. Crikey. By the end of it, you must be dreaming in Pantos. Do you find yourself sort of waking up going, he's behind you?
Well, probably worse than that. The Kudos have a fantastic musical director who writes some amazing tunes, and I find them, a guy called Gary Hind, and I find myself humming those tunes literally all year long. So, and you just can't get them out of your head. So, yeah, that's probably the worst part.
I mean, the thing about Pantos is that you do know what you're getting, and that's what you're expecting. But of course, they differ from show to show, from story to story. Is there a sort of key sort of spine of a Panto that no one can ever really sort of veer from, or do you sometimes get some sort of way out there ones and you think, wow, they've been a bit adventurous?
Yeah, I mean, some people do have different takes on it. You tend to find the independents will try and do something a little bit different. So one of the supporters of the show, Limelight Pantomime Scripts, they do sort of Wild West versions of certain shows and all sorts of differing ways of doing things. So you know, people do like to see something a bit different, but if you go to some of the mainstream shows, so like Sheffield's Mother Goose and Evolution, you will get sort of the story that you expect told in the way you would expect it, but obviously it's brilliant.
What are the key things then? What are the key things you're expecting from a Panto? You're obviously judging them, so presumably you've got a list of categories where you sort of, you know...
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, from a show, we're looking for fast pace, lots of jokes, lots of interaction with the audience, great music numbers, and, you know, scenes that will just make you fall about the floor laughing, really.
And I'm always interested in the sort of there's the stuff for the children, and then there's little sort of lines that are out there for the parents and the grandparents to keep them excited.
Absolutely. I think, pantomime is at two levels. There is the level that is aimed at the kids, and there are the innuendos, the carry-on style innuendos that only the adults get, and it gives them the entertainment as well. So, is
it feasible? We were talking about the sort of morality, and you said, yes, there's a moral story, but also it's about bringing the family together and that lovely sort of collective feeling at this time of year. Is it possible that you could have a panto where evil triumphed over good?
I don't think that would ever happen. I think even the far out script writers would never allow that to happen. Whilst fundamentally it's not about good versus evil, it's about entertainment. That is one of the many traditions of panto, that the baddie will always lose and become a good person in the end.
And can you even choose the best panto you've ever seen? Are you even allowed to say that? I don't know.
Well, I don't want to say anything for this year, because obviously I have to be very, very careful.
Not for this year.
But I mean, I loved Newcastle in 2011, Sleeping Beauty. That's Kudos's show, directed by Michael Harrison. It's hysterical. It was just a funny show. It's a double act, predominantly Clive Webb and Danny Adams, and it was 2.5 hours of absolute bonkers laughter, to the point where at times I was struggling for breath because I was laughing so hard.
Brilliant. Lovely to meet you. When's your next panto?
This afternoon in Lichfield.
Well, you better get going. Thank you so much, panto expert and co-founder of the Great British Pantomime Awards, Daniel Dawson. And if you've seen a panto recently, do let me know what it was like. You can give me a top tip for a panto that I might want to see. 81333 if you are texting, or you can give me a call 279 6699.